Psalm 46, 1-4 tells us that God is our refuge and our strength. Let me read to you those verses. God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. So we will not fear when earthquakes come and the mountains crumble into the sea. Let the oceans roar and foam. Let the mountains tremble as the waters surge. A river brings joy to the city of our God, the sacred home of the Most High. God is our refuge and strength, and He is always ready to be with us. In this video, I'm going to share a very quick story about a way that He's done that in my life. And at the end of this video, I'm going to link to another one where I share a bit more about spending time in God's presence to find that refuge and strength, a little bit about David and his story and how he found it, and then a personal story, and then lead you in a time of meditation to help you in an area where you may need to find the refuge, strength, and joy of God. So I invite you to check that out. Now for the 7-minute story. Okay. There are so many things that I could probably share about times of trouble. And, obviously when you look at these verses, it's talking about severe trouble, like when earthquakes come, when mountains crumble into the sea. Today I'm obviously thinking about everyone in California who's lost their homes in the fires. I can't even imagine what that's like to go through. And I certainly have had tragedy in my life, but I actually want to talk about a more kind of personal, intimate, less not tragic, but difficult time where I found refuge and strength. And it just happens to be that that's what I felt like the Holy Spirit was stirring. So, I was single until I was 40 years old. And if you had asked me when I was 16 years old, like what I wanted to do with my life, I would have told you, I want to get married, I want to have 5 kids, and I want to be a wife and mom. And that was like my plan for my life. And life did not turn out that way. And, I am really grateful in that for the most part, as I was single, I was actually content. I felt like God had spoken to my heart must have been I think it was early 30s, late 20s, that God started talking to me about my future husband. And, when God starts talking to you about something, a lot of times we sort of expect that that's going to happen right away. And I ended up having a very, very long wait. In fact, I asked God to hide me when I was 27 years old until He was ready to bring my husband into my life. And He did not bring my husband into my life until I was 39. So, as I said, I experienced a lot of contentment in my singleness, and I'm really grateful for that. But to say that I never faced loneliness or was never distraught or sad over, being single is just not true. And there was a particular season where it felt like the weight of loneliness and kind of just being, looking at all my family who were married and they were all having kids. And I had lots of friends who were getting married and having kids. And it wasn't so much that I dealt with loneliness in the sense of like the day-to-day of life. It was more like the loneliness of longing for something that I didn't have. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, I was in this particular season where I felt that. And I happened to go to someone's house for Christmas. And they, on Christmas morning, like all the stockings were filled for all of the family members, but there wasn't a stocking for me. And that sounds so ridiculous. It sounds so ridiculous as I say it now. But that like literally sent me over the edge. Like I literally had to like go up to my room and cry over not having a stocking. And it was silly. It felt so silly. I was so mad at myself because a stocking is it's not even what Christmas is about. It's like, and it's not like I even needed whatever small things would go inside of that stocking. It was more like the loneliness of like not being remembered, and so it was in that season where I started kind of feeling that heaviness and that weight of that kind of loneliness. And so, I finally started talking to Jesus about it. And I don't know why it took me so long because I was kind of in the season for a while, but it was that triggering moment of the stocking that had me start just talking to Him and asking Him for understanding, for how to walk through, however long I was going to be single, being fulfilled, by Him. And there were a number of things that he did in that time. One was to give me a really amazing dream where he just reassured me about the season of life that I was in, where he, like I was at my wedding and he showed me that I was going to be married, but he also showed me in this dream that there was like a reason for the wait. Like the reason for the wait was in what he had me doing in life. And as I experienced this dream, I was like, I wasn't necessarily happy in the dream that it was happening, but I also understood he was letting me know there was purpose. And so for me, finding refuge, strength, and joy in God, number one, was knowing that I could go to Jesus with what felt like a silly thing, what felt like should be not consequential in terms of all the problems of the world. But knowing that he cared for my broken heart, knowing that he cared for my loneliness, knowing that he wanted me to be with him in it. And so as I took myself to him, it was there that he started speaking to me, not just in this dream and about this dream, but in other ways about how I could lean into him for refuge and strength. And there were different things that he gave me to do. I discovered a different kind of art form during that time that I enjoyed doing. There were things like movies he asked me to stop watching, or in television shows he asked me to stop watching because they were things that stirred longing. And so there were very specific ways that he helped me recognize the way that the enemy was like exacerbating the loneliness and what I could avoid. But then he was also helping me understand like things I could do that would release joy into my life. And then also too, it was also just time with him where I found refuge, strength, and joy. And so I want to encourage you, whatever it is that you're going through, be it really what you might consider or the world might consider minuscule or, sad or like sad but not tragic, know that Jesus cares about that. He really cares about that. And he wants to be with you in it. And he wants you to be able to find your refuge and strength in him and to be able to find joy. And I'm so grateful. Joy is one of those things that is a fruit of the Holy Spirit. So it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, we can be in joy no matter what. So again, I want to invite you to check out the video that I'm going to link to at the end of this one. And God bless you.